Now you see the day 7's question. It is saying, despite the consistent experience of high growth, India still goes out with the lowest indicators of human development. Examine the issues that make balanced and inclusive development elusive. अब यहाँ पे you need to understand few things. So you need to write something so that you are able to give argument related to this particular statement. After that, the main thing that we need to address is what are the issues that is creating a problem, what are the issues because of which balanced and inclusive development is not possible. Okay, now while discussing this particular answer, I will also discuss how an average answers look like and how your comprehensive answer looks like, where you have all the points. Okay, so the first thing that we need to write here is your introduction. Ab introduction mein, can you tell me what we can write in the introduction? Give me something very basic. I'm not expecting very hi-fi English and all. Just tell me simple introduction. What can we write over here? Okay. Can we write here any definition of human development? Should we write any definition? Yes. So in the introduction, just like yesterday when we talked about the demographic dividend and all, we try to define the demographic dividend. Here it is not required. So what I'm trying to tell you is, here you may not require what? We cannot start with definition. So I can write like this, that India, just a minute, India is one of the growing emerging economies of the world. Growing emerging economies of the world. Okay, but despite, now I will write this whole statement, but despite the consistent experience of high growth, India still goes with lowest indicators of human development. So I will write it, this particular line over here. Is it okay? Now to substantiate this, I should have a data. So then I will go on to write, this is evident from, do I know anything? So now when I'm writing this previous year question, I should have some data with me. So I can write, this is evident from human development index. This is evident from human development index released by UNDP, where India's ranking, these numbers may change, where India's ranking is 132 out of 191 countries. That is, India has ranked below its neighbors. This is your Sri Lanka. Then you can write China. Now if you know the ranks and all, it's perfectly fine. But if you don't know it, you can just put this also. That is more than sufficient. But still, we can write it here. Sri Lanka ki rank is 73rd. If I talk about China, it is 79th. Then if I talked about Bangladesh, then I can write here 129. Okay, that's it. Is it clear to you? So what I am trying to tell you is, whatever I am going to write, it is backed by a certain data. It is just not talking in air. Okay, na? You were saying something? What? Definition here is not required. They are not asking, If I ask your name, you will write your father's name, and then you will say, why should I write my name? The idea here is simple, I tell you, because here, the idea here is, whose definition we are going to write. Because they have asked you a simple statement that India is growing, but still growing, the human indicators are not good. So am I going to define what are human indicators? Is it making any sense? Okay, now, so here definition will not work. Here what I can do is I can write some report based. If there is any report that is there, I can write, I can write report, or I can write any fact which I know. Definition here will not work. Had the statement been like, let's say, what is human development indicators, why India is lagging behind then I will write the definition of it. Is it okay? So this is how I'll going. Now, going by this, I will put a separate heading called issues. I will put a separate heading called issues. Ab issues ke andar, I'll just make you write that how an average student will look, right? The first point here, you can also write it, because some other questions you can include these points also. The first you can write is income inequality. Income inequality, you can write, I'll dictate. Income inequality contributing to, income inequality contributing to unequal distribution of wealth. Unequal distribution of wealth. Income inequality contributing to unequal distribution of wealth, not contribution. Unequal distribution of wealth. Write in brackets non-inclusive growth. Non-inclusive growth. Next point you can write here is regional disparity. Regional disparity. And why this regional disparity is there? Because of uneven growth and development. Uneven growth and development. Third point here you can write is social exclusion. Social exclusion due to casteism. Due to casteism. Okay. Social exclusion due to casteism. That is why you will see you say the caste system is still valid, because now we are giving recognition to SC, STs, and you have minorities also. Okay, you have minorities also. Acha, fourth point you can write over here is inadequate investments in social infrastructure. Inadequate investment in social infrastructure. Inadequate investment in social infrastructure. Next you can write as jobless growth. You can write as jobless growth. Okay. When you talk about jobless growth, do you have any data related to it? So an employment rate is, you can write employment rate is 6.1%. Why? There is this organization called NSSO. They will talk about that, and unemployment has been all-time high. Second point, sixth point you can write is poor education and health. Poor education and health. Next, you can write malnutrition. Malnutrition. Malnutrition, you can write hindering the growth of child, because now if growth of child, now if he's suffering from malnutrition, obviously stunting, wasting, all these issues will come into picture. So you can also write hindering the growth of children by stunting, wasting. Eighth point you can write is digital divide will also get created. Digital divide will also get created. This is how your average points will look like. Is it clear? Now these points are good enough, but the problem with these points is it is not backed by any data. Is it okay? These points are relevant, but the problem is that it is not backed by any data, or it is not backed by any fact. These are simple answers, simple keyword answer, which those people appearing for mains are going to write anyhow, somehow. because इतना तो उनको भी पता होगा. Now to get an edge over it, you have to put things into little bit perspective. So now what I can do here is, rather than directly putting the issues, I will write the reasons of low human development. Reasons of low human development. A majority of the points you also know and I also know, but we are learning here how to put them into a structure. So in this only, I will make, let's say, point number 1. I will make it like, now again we'll go back to the syllabus of the UPSC. So the first point I will want to explore is social dimension. Social dimension. Okay. Social dimension mein what all points I can write? First point I can write here is inequality. Inequality, or which kind of inequality? Income inequality. Okay. Next point I can write is gender disparity. Gender disparity. Okay. Next only here I can write is social exclusion. Social exclusion of marginalized people affecting their growth and access to the resources, that I can write. So social exclusion of marginalized section contributing to lack of access to the resources. Acha, this is done. Now coming to this, okay, this is done. In this only I am going to talk about your caste system. I'm going to talk about your caste system. Caste system is there. Okay. And because of this caste system, you can write lack of opportunities to the poor people. To the poor people. So we have discussed caste system. Then you can also write that social norms are also there. You can also write social norms are also there. What is this social norm? You can talk about child marriage over here. Child marriage. Then you can talk about dowry is also one of the reason, because now that is why what is going to happen? Female infanticide is going to happen. Then you can also write gender-based discrimination. Gender-based discrimination. Gender-based discrimination. Is it okay? So majority of the points have been covered in the social dimension. Still it is not complete. Now I will go on and explore the political dimension of it also. Political dimension of it. See, everything, whatever points I'm writing, we have discussed in the length and breadth. I'm just trying to put these into perspective. Now if I talk about the political challenges, political challenge mein I can write something related to, let's say, governance. Ab governance mein I have a lot of points. So governance mein I can write here is corruption. Corruption can be also one of the issue, that government is allocating resources but it is not reaching to the people. So corruption can be one of the issue. Then you can also write bureaucratic inefficiency. Bureaucratic inefficiency. Bureaucratic efficiency means now they are not specialized. Now they have a secure job. They have nothing to do with the implementation. Even if they are not able to implement, it's perfectly fine. Next is lack of transparency. When we'll cover governance, you will be able to realize all these terms in a more comprehensive manner. But for now, it is lack of transparency. Lack of transparency means people do not have the data. Okay. Acha. Next, I can talk about, let's say, fragmented politics. Fragmented politics. And because of these schemes are not being implemented properly, because now lot of the times it is going for appeasement. I have to appeasement this section, I have to appeasement that section. So fragmented politics. Why this fragmented politics is there? Because of what? Diverse politics. Okay. And second important thing is your regional interest. Next is your what? Regional interest. This is, I can write this whole melodrama you can see in these Maharashtra politics. है ना. अभी you go and see how people will change the party and then they will fight for elections. So this you can see. Acha, governance is there, fragmented politics is there. Next you can write is limited political participation. Limited political participation. Ab why there is limited political participation? You can write unequal representation is there. Unequal representation is there. Okay. Next point I can write is related to, again, exclusion of marginalized groups. Exclusion of marginalized groups. For example, since we have covered polity, I'm not going to that detail, just to give you an idea that you go and see the representative from the Northeast. Okay, so you have very few numbers in the parliament, but then you go there and try to see that over there also the tribal community has a lot of identity also. Are all these tribal communities represented in the parliament? The answer is no. If they are not represented in the parliament, their interests will not be taken care of. They may not have a voice. Okay, so this is their second point. Then I can write is third point I can write over here is, do I have any technological or not? So you can write technological. Technological mein I can write is digital divide. I can talk about digital divide. When I talk about digital divide, it simply means what? Unequal access. Unequal access to what? Technology and what? Internet connectivity. Simple. Then next you can point here, you can write is skills gap due to a rapid advancement. Example mein you can write chat GPT. Skills gap due to rapid advancement, because now people don't know how to interact with the chat GPT. Okay, this is there. Next point you can write over here is technological is done. Next, fourth you can write is administrative. When I talk about administrative, the answer is very, very simple. Administrative, or I can include here also this governance ke saath also I can include, right? But since I have good points which I can write under here, so I will make a separate subheading and start to write. Administrative mein you can write implementation challenges. Governance mein I was talking about there was leakage, but here implementation challenges will be there. The data I have and the ground data, they may not match. There is a mismatch. The implementation challenges can be there. Second, you can write over here is decentralization. That can be one of the issue. Okay, now decentralization means capacity and resources at local level. For example, that is why you will see that when we talk about Panchayati Raj institution, it was put under which article? Article 243. That is a reservation. I mean, DPSP mein where was this local panchayat was put up? Which article? What is Article 40 then? So that is why you will see that it was put under DPSPs, and then you will see that in 1990s only it got what? It got constitutional status. The reason was, if you go and see the debate that was there, the reason why this delay, because according to Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, he was against this idea. Why? Because at that point of time, I'm talking about 1950s and all, at that point of time, according to him, caste system was still prevalent. So if we give power to the people, people will get divided. Now, why people will get divided? Because of the caste system. Higher caste will try to dominate over the lower caste. So now, according to him, time is not correct, or it is not the right time to give the power to the people. That is why in 1990s, finally they gave it to the constitutional status. It means that that you can rely on people's decision. And that is why in a democratic setup, you have your right to vote under Article 326. 326 may vote means what? That government relies on your decision. Now you have the right to choose your government. Okay. So capacity and resources at the local level. So even if we give power to them, they may not have the capacity. That can be also one of the problem. Next point you can write over here is, legal dimension. Legal dimension. अब under legal dimension, what all points I can write here is, legal में I can write delays, inefficiencies in the judicial system. ठीक है, that is also. Second point you can write here is regulatory challenges can also be there. Regulatory challenges. Why? Due to bureaucratic and complex framework. That can be there. ठीक है ना? Next I can write under, this is your sixth point. I can write under economic dimension also. Economic dimension. Ab see, I don't have a word limit over here. I'm just trying to tell you what all things you can write. Okay na? So we have exceeded the word limit. But you can short this also. You can write 2-3 dimensions only. That can also work. Economic dimension mein you can write informal sector. Ab agar there is informal sector, what is the problem? The problem with informal sector is low productivity. Second important thing is they do not have any social security. So I can write limited social security. If you have to understand social security, you can imagine like this. Now the rickshaw wala, if he decided that okay, today I will not go for rickshaw and all, he will not earn any income. He do not has that safety net. So it's like he will work, he will earn. He will work, he will earn. If he stops working, money will also stop flowing in. Achha, second point you can write is unequal access. Unequal access due to you can write over here, unequal access due to limited resources, comma credit, and you can write over here is market. Simple. Credit and market. Because now market may things will rise up. Now these people may not have that capacity to go and buy. Okay. Have you understood these things? So this is what are the factors. So basically I tried to put argument that despite the consistent growth, India still goes with the lowest indicators of human development. That is there. Achha. Next, put the heading as factors that make inclusive growth elusive. अब यहाँ पर भी I can write like this, point 1, point 2, point 3. But if I have good points, I will go and subcategorize it. अच्छा, यहाँ पे I can write what are the environmental challenges. Environmental challenges. Ab over here I can go and write like this. You can write disproportionately impact under environmental challenges. You write disproportionately impact vulnerable communities and livelihoods. Disproportionately impact vulnerable communities and livelihoods. If you want to see this, if you want to experience this, जब तो मेट्रो से आ रहे होंगे, you will see कि लोग वहां पे सो रहे होंगे. Have you seen that? Now you imagine in the winters also these people will be there only because now they do not have enough home to in fact rent a shelter also. They will keep on staying these areas only. So climate change ka impact will be faced by these people. You may not able to feel the impact of climate change because now गर्मी अगर होगी तो AC will be on और ठंडा अगर होगा तो heater will be on. Next point you can write is environmental, इसी के अंदर you can write is environmental degradation, comma climate change and natural disaster, okay. Acha, second I can write is economic. Under economic mein I can write is insufficient job creation, insufficient job creation, especially quality and formal employment, Next point इसी के नीचे third you can write under economic only, lack of skills, lack of access to the skills, okay. Ab can you do one thing over here? Can you think of, I'm leaving it to you, can you think of governance related point? This is your homework now. Environmental challenges, economic challenges, then you also see what can be written under society, and then you also see what can be written under polity. Polity mein you can write lack of political will, okay. So you can write few things over here, I'm leaving it to you now. Next you write the conclusion over here and you please brainstorm it and let me know. Conclusion mein you can write over here that by tackling these challenges and adopting a more equitable and inclusive approach to development, by tackling these challenges and adopting a more equitable and inclusive approach to development, India can ensure that all benefits of growth are shared, by all segments of society, leading to improved human development outcomes, for the entire population. Is it okay? So I tried to answer the first part of by putting up the reasons, and the third is the second point, the second subheading. I tried to answer that what were the factors that was making this inclusive development difficult for the country. Is it okay? Okay.